One of the main questions I get as a travel physical therapist is, how do I find housing or places to stay when I'm in these different cities? It's definitely an important question and a topic that I had a lot of questions about myself before I started doing travel work. So in this video, I want to go through some of the ways for you to find housing when you're on a travel healthcare contract. Be sure to stick around for the whole video because afterward, I'm going to go over some of the specific things that I do when I'm looking for and selecting my housing to make sure that I don't get scammed or taken advantage of, and some extra helpful tips. Now, when it's time to find my housing, the first place I go to is Furnished Finder. Furnished Finder is a website specifically catered to travel professionals. Folks with properties like condos, apartments, townhouses, in-law suites, and extra rooms in their home, etc. They list their properties and you can browse them depending on what you're looking for. So I figure that the easiest way to do this is to just kind of go through Furnished Finder and explain the couple of things that I do when I'm looking for my housing. So for example, I have everything pulled up here, the homepage for corporate travelers, relocating families, travel nurses, and more. Perfect. So I'm from South Carolina, and one of the main cities in South Carolina with a lot of healthcare systems is Greenville. So we're going to use that as an example today. We type in where we're going, our move-in date, and our budget. For now, I put that I'm willing to pay up to about $2,000 per month for my housing. So we come here and we click our search bar, and then we have our options that come up. So right now we have 178 furnished monthly rentals near Greenville, South Carolina. So we can scroll, we can see what places look good, but let's say that we're not exactly happy with the options that are presented as of right now. We come to this filter section. Oh my God. So we come to the filter section, we click utilities, because I think it's easier just to have your utilities included in whatever you're looking for. And then we also have some other filters that we can search through. I prefer entire places. We have rooms and beds. If it's just you, you're traveling with another person, a partner, some family members, the amenities that you're looking for, and that'll help kind of par down the options that you're also looking for. So we clicked on something and we click show these last properties. And from there, we have even less properties to go through now. So again, we kind of scroll through. We have a nice map to the side that can actually help us kind of decide if we know what our commute is, or if we know exactly where we're going to be working at, we can use that to kind of have a rough estimate of what our commute would be. And so let's say we like something, cozy downtown condo. Let's say that sounds good. We want to look through that. From there, we can look at the pictures. Looks very nice. We have a review. We have some of the closest facilities. And scrolling down, we see what they offer, what the rooms seem like, the amenities that are also included, house rules, and pretty much everything that you would need, including some information, a quick blurb about the landlord. And if you scroll up a little bit more, you can even see, the monthly rent, some of the property fees, like a deposit that you would have to pay. And from there, if you want to, you can send a booking request, message them, and inquire about the property. So that's one way to use Furnished Finder to potentially find your housing. But the way that I personally find easiest is to use the housing request feature. And with this, once you type in the information about the place that you're going to be staying at, it's going to send out a blast message or a blast email to those landlords that kind of fit that criteria. And that allows them to get in contact with you so you can look through the properties and figure out which one is best for you. So like before, we kind of typed in some of the information that we used last time. We're going to say how long we're going to be staying there, what we're actually there for, with some other options like long-term housing, student, military, where we're going to be staying at, Greenville, South Carolina, how many of us are going to be there, potentially what we're looking for, a unit, a room, or even a hotel. And then we have our budget here. And it's interesting because I don't think this is a hard cap, because even though this is usually the price range that I put, typically I've gotten messages from folks above that $2,000 and below that $1,600, because sometimes they're willing to kind of compromise or change their prices to get you to come rent their properties. And from here, we actually have our map. And if you're looking for maybe a specific area, or you don't mind a bit of a longer commute, you can type in that mileage and it'll kind of expand that circle to send out messages to more properties. And here again, we have options. We can do fully furnished, which I usually do, utilities included. I love having my Wi-Fi, and I like having a washer and dryer available in my unit. So we click continue. And from here, you can type in your name, your contact information, and how you want these owners to get in contact with you. And from there, it'll load it up, it'll send out that message. And again, it allows them to get in contact with you so you can look through their properties and see what fits best for what you're looking for and what you want. Now, when I pick my jobs, I usually pick more urban populated areas. And I think that's important to mention, because if you pick more populated areas with maybe more hospital systems, then you're naturally going to have more options. If you go to a more rural area for a contract, then just know you'll probably have more limited options, or you may have to deal with a bit of a longer commute. Now, even though I think this is the easiest option for housing, there are other places online that you can check for your housing. Extended stay hotels that function similar to small apartments or studios that include things like kitchenettes are an option. Airbnb and Vrbo are also options to check. There are some property owners on these platforms that can rent or block out their space for longer periods of time. And Facebook is another place that you can look, either on the marketplace or through Facebook groups. Furnished Finder actually has a group on Facebook, but if you look up, say, travel healthcare housing, you'll find a lot more. But I really don't think diving into the Facebook options are that good compared to Furnished Finder or even Airbnb and Vrbo. To me, it seems like a lot of these groups are just random postings, and it seems you're a lot more likely to get scammed. But it can be a viable option that may be worth your time if you do your due diligence. But in my opinion, Furnished Finder will always be the best place to find your housing. And even those aren't technically it for options, because you can look up your local realtor listings in whatever area you're in and inquire about maybe some short-term leasing. And I know a few travel healthcare workers that actually do their travel in an RV. And I'm not super familiar with how RV travel works, but you can travel to and from where you're working in the RV, find and rent a ground or a lot with other RVs, and that can be your housing. But that really just kind of depends on your lifestyle. Again, Furnished Finder is just my preferred way to find housing. It's set up specifically for travel professionals. It shows pictures, locations, and prices up front. And it also has a built-in background check system for landlords that's easy to use from the renter side, which gives a lot more peace of mind. When I find a place that looks good and fits what I want, the first thing that I usually do is I reach out to that landlord for a quick phone chat. It's super simple. I just introduce myself, mention that I've been doing this travel gig for a while, ask how their rental process works, how they prefer their payments, like check, Zelle, Venmo, and see if they have any special rules like curfews or guest limitations. And that may sound strange, but it's their property, and I just want to make sure I know what I'm potentially walking into. Most of the time, it's no issue at all, though. Landlords usually respond quickly, and they're very open to answering any questions. Some will even offer to FaceTime or video chat just to show you their property. They'll send extra pictures, and that just gives more reassurance, which definitely helps with building confidence before committing. Also, some landlords may require renter's insurance, but that usually isn't too expensive, so you can always explore your options for that. Lastly, just be sure to ask about how the landlord handles cancellations of your contracts. There's always a possibility that your job contract could be canceled or ended early, and you're going to want to know if the lease is month to month or if there's like a 3 or 6 month minimum, or if they're flexible enough to just void and prorate the lease in those cases. This has only happened to me once, but thankfully the landlord I was with was flexible. I moved out in the middle of the month and he prorated the rent and then just voided the lease for the rest of the time that I was supposed to be there. And those are the ways for you to find housing during your travel contracts. Let me know if this information was helpful. And if you're looking for more information about maybe how much money that you could possibly make doing travel physical therapy, I made a video breaking down my travel physical therapy salary, and I'll link that somewhere up here. Thank you for watching. We'll see you in the next one.